It's official. All the Xbox games are coming to PlayStation and even Switch too, probably. We got a new interview with Phil Spencer and Destin Legary. So let's look at this. I thought this was kind of funny.
Indiana Jones has an exclusivity window, to be fair. Can you solidify that Starfield's staying put for the time being?
No, like I'm not. There's no.
I just love that. No. What are you talking about? Dude, aren't like console exclusives like a big thing to sell your console? And he's like, no. Are you crazy? Let's hear what else he has to say. I'm of course joking, but I thought that's sort of like him waiting and then kind of thinking and then saying the no in that way. It's kind of funny to me.
No, like I'm not. There's no specific game that this kind of goes back to my red line answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no reason for me to put a ring fence around any game and say this game will not go to a place that it would find players, where it would have business success for us. What we find is we're able to drive a better business that allows us to invest in great game lineup like you saw. And that's our strategy, right? Our strategy is to allow our games to be available. Game Pass is an important component of playing the games on our platform. But to keep games off of other platforms, we don't think is a path that that's not a path for us. It doesn't work for us. What we're doing now, we think really enables us to build the best platform for the world's best games, because the world's biggest games are available in multiple places. And more creators are asking us, how do we stay connected when our game might be playable in all these different places?
Okay, blah, 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 blah. Basically, yeah, Starfield is coming to PlayStation. Did we need like any... I mean, it was kind of obvious, but it was always like they are saying more games are coming over, but now he's basically saying, I cannot say to you that Starfield won't come over, so it is going to happen. And Destin Legary put up this on his Patreon, so if you want to support him, go do it. I will leave a link to the full interview with Phil Spencer from his YouTube channel as well. So then, of course, the questions become... and we go to Forbes here. We have Paul Tessie writing the following. We love our platform and our hardware, but we're not going to put walls up where people can engage with the great games our studios are building. Our games will show up in more places, no doubt. And then, like, of course, a question you're gonna ask is then, okay, but why would I pick an Xbox if I can play all these games on the PC and on the PlayStation and even the Switch too as well? So then they are talking about... Phil Spencer says, I want people to pick hardware based on the capabilities of that hardware and the choices they want to make about where they want to play. We want our hardware to win based on the capabilities that we have, hardware critical and fundamental to what Xbox is, not trying to gatekeep the games of different places. So that is an interesting way of looking at it. Of course, that's completely different than when they started, like when they bought Bethesda. They were really clear, most of these games are gonna be exclusive. But now that is completely shifted. And I mean, for Xbox it makes sense. They are, even with exclusives like a Starfield, with other exclusives they announced like an Indiana Jones, the Xbox hardware is still not really selling. So let's just put it elsewhere. I mean, they saw a big success with Sea of Thieves and Indiana Jones, of course, coming over as well. So people on Xbox are just trained to not really buy games anymore. They got their Game Pass subscription. So they got like their Game Pass subscription. So if you already pay $20 a month, you're less inclined to also buy games a la carte. And that's kind of what Xbox trained their customers to do. So then they're going to get that money elsewhere. And yeah, with the games being more and more expensive, it does make sense. But yeah, it is now interesting to look at the developer direct we had, and we already kind of saw that, but with the developer direct, we had Doom the Dark Ages, which coming to PS5. Only South of Midnight is not coming to PS5 day one. Now, we had rumors about the fact that basically all the games are coming to PS5, but some studios are just not ready to support that platform day one. And if South of Midnight maybe wanted to come to PS5, they maybe had to delay the game on Xbox and PC. Xbox does not seem ready for that, at least right now. So I do think it still means that we will see those games or that game come over. But it's also then interesting to look at the Xbox showcase that we had, right? And look at other games that at first are, or that basically are not announced for PS5 yet, but that we know are kind of coming. Indiana Jones in spring. It's probably gonna be April, I think. Indiana Jones Avowed. Really looking forward to that game. Got, of course, great press. Sea of Thieves already on PS5, so I think Avowed is probably coming over maybe at the end of the year, or early next year. Fable the same. I'm now gonna play the game on PS5. Perfect Dark, of course, also looked really awesome. But yeah, these games are like very, very expensive for them, and obviously Game Pass is making them money. But what we saw news that basically putting a big AAA game on Game Pass means that 85% of your sales will basically be gone because people will simply just subscribe to Game Pass or are already subscribed. So getting those sales elsewhere makes sense. But and I do think it will be interesting if we get to a situation where a lot of these Xbox games are coming over. Obviously, this included third party as well. But if you look at it and are like, okay, I'm buying Doom, I'm buying Fable, I'm buying Outer Worlds 2, I'm buying Indiana Jones, I'm buying 4 of these big Xbox games on my PlayStation 5. Why would I not just get a Game Pass subscription on another platform or etc.? Because then I can just play those games as part of my subscription. I'm curious to see if we'll ever reach that point or if people will just be happy sticking to the PS5 and getting the games just a la carte. But again, yeah, here Forza, like... And it's kind of wild because Sony is not launching a lot of games themselves, but third party are of course launching, and now they basically get access to, like, their platform will now be filled with a ton of games from their competitor. Like Microsoft, especially with Call of Duty, the Blizzard games, will be the biggest publisher on PlayStation. Clockwork Revolution, I really hope that one turns out well. And yeah, should also be coming over, of course. So, interesting stuff. I always said for Starfield, I think they're gonna do like the September DLC 2, and then maybe like a complete edition or something for PlayStation. So, have the 2 DLCs included and still ask full price for it. I think that's probably what they're gonna do. And have like try another Starfield moment. I really hope the second DLC is better though than the first one, because it wasn't that great. But yeah, it's interesting. And also here we have more Xbox kind of news, because sure, those Perfect Dark, Fable, those would be big on PlayStation, but in particular Halo or Gears of War would of course be huge. And we now have Gears E-Day targeting 2025. Would be huge. Oblivion remake in the spring. I'm sure that will come to PS5 day one. Contraband is the new game from Just Cause creators that has been in the works for a really long time. It was at the Xbox reveal event. And Clockwork Revolution. But I think it's kind of wild now and pretty exciting too to be a PlayStation fan and just watch like the Xbox show, like even the developer direct. You can now watch that and be like, yo, this is exciting because I get to play these games too as a PlayStation owner. Only, again, South of Midnight, which I think is the weakest game they showed, is not coming day one. While all the other titles I can be excited about. And that's so weird to kind of... I mean, if you only have an Xbox and you watch a PlayStation press conference, sure, there are third parties there, but the biggest, like the Ghost of Yotei, you will be like, I'm not gonna like butcher myself watching this because I know I won't be playing this anyways. But yeah, for Xbox it will be different. It will be, I'm watching this show and I know I will be able to play those games. I think Hellblade 2 will of course also come over for sure. State of Decay 3. They have so many games that will all be third party at least. That's crazy. Like, they're already launching a lot of 2025 games, and then they are also launching other games on other platforms. They're gonna be a third-party powerhouse, and I hope that works out for them. But I hope that, like, what are the capabilities of that next Xbox, right? What could Xbox do on a hardware level to push people to yeah, to get that over a PlayStation. If on the Xbox you cannot play PlayStation games, but on the PlayStation you can play Xbox games, that hardware has to do something insanely well to have me at least or other people jump over. I have an Xbox and a PlayStation. I rarely use my Xbox, but for example, for Avowed, I will play that on Xbox. I don't know what an Xbox hardware will be. I do think, and I talked about that before, if Xbox is able to launch their next-gen hardware in 2026, that to me is exciting, because then that will be more powerful. Like, the only way they can get me is to make a more powerful PlayStation, like a more powerful console than the PlayStation 5 Pro. If that is possible, and all the third-party games, and their own games as well, play the best on that next Xbox, I will probably get it, because I'm a sucker for that. But I don't think that will be enough for a lot of people. But if they want to sell hardware based on the capabilities, they have to do something drastically different, because the Xbox Series S versus the PS5, what is the difference? Obviously, quick resume and stuff is great, backwards compatibility is great, but that's nothing to like jump to the Xbox, right? It's interesting, it's fascinating, but yeah, Phil Spencer now basically said, dude, are you stupid for asking that? I know that's not what he thought, but it kind of felt like that. No, of course not. Of course Starfield is coming to PlayStation. That's kind of wild to me. Let me know what you think, of course, and subscribe for more.